I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Hey, welcome back to Focus Today. Delighted to have in the studio one of my favorite people. Yep, Doug Gould. He's the Executive Director of Foundation for Recovery, and always good to have him around. Just love the work that he does. As he says, he works hard to put a positive face on recovery. And your third annual Drive Out Drugs Recovery Festival and Carnival.
Yep. This Friday and Saturday at Harry and David Field. Getting ready. We still have a lot to do to get everything together, but we're excited. Yeah.
If you're not familiar with Foundations for Recovery, what Doug and his team do is one-on-one mentoring on any kind of an addiction and recovery. Yeah. And guess what? Free of charge. Yep. It's an operation by faith, and somehow the community has gotten behind you, and church groups and other organizations, we're behind you. They just do a wonderful work. Their success rate is higher than anybody in the state. You're running 50-some, what is it?
About 58% is our latest numbers. From 6 months to 18 months, we're seeing sustainability. If I can get them past that 6 months and continue to work with them, we see the numbers go up.
So no matter what the addiction is, but a lot of it's drugs and alcohol.
Absolutely, chemical addiction.
Chemical addiction. You match somebody with that person.
Absolutely.
It's a one-on-one mentoring.
Absolutely.
And it works.
We call it personalized one-on-one recovery coaching. Basically, when someone comes through our door, we do an assessment, and then we try to match them up with one of our state-certified, highly trained recovery coaches, mentors, and to begin their 12-week process. And we require 12 weeks because that 3-month that window, if I can get them to 90 days, it seems clarity begins to come back. Yeah. Decision making, new learned behavior begins to come back, and but most likely our participants like to stay with us a lot longer. We welcome that, so it's cool. It's exciting to see.
I got to tell you, I'm sure we're aware that the problem is big. We may not be aware how big the problem really is and how great the need really is. You were out at the Dove Fest over the weekend. There on Saturday. You had a booth there, and what kind of response you get?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you guys. Dove Fest was amazing. It was an opportunity for us to have a booth there, and I got to tell you, we were there early from the time the gates opened to the time we left. We were nonstop with people asking questions regarding addiction. And in fact, it was a kind of a unique moment. I know you came by a couple times, and Steve sat with me for a little bit. And in that moment, as he was sitting, we had several people come by the booth, and this one individual was talking about her husband who's addicted to alcohol, and just continued to share and share and share, probably for a good 20 minutes. And as she left, Steve turned to me and says, "Is that kind of a natural reaction?" And I said, "Yes, because people want to talk. People need help. People need support." A lot of people came by and said, "We had no idea that you do. Are you guys local?" And so we want to get the message out to the churches and the businesses and the local community of what we do. And that's why we do our festival each year, to let people know why we're here.
Well, coming up Friday night and all day Saturday is and the weather's going to be absolutely perfect for this. Drive Out Drugs Recovery Festival and Carnival. Let's start with Friday. You start at 6 o'clock. What happens? This is all going to be out at the Harry and David baseball field. Yep. What happens Friday night?
Gates open at 5 o'clock. Everybody that comes through the gate will get a free hot dog and a drink. They get a golden ticket. Y'all take your golden ticket, fill it out, and take it to the concession stand and get a free hot dog and a drink, and then come and enjoy. It kicks off Friday night with a home run derby contest with 4 of our local departments: Medford Police, Central Point Police, and Jackson Fire District 3 and 5. And then we've put together 3 of our individuals from our foundation are going to also participate.
So it's the first one they hit a home run?
Well, it's 4 rounds, so it's elimination. So we start with 15 players, goes down to 8, then to 4, and then the championship with 2. And then between the rounds, we've got Troy and his gang from Spartan Gym going to be doing some exhibition boxing, and then we also have sumo wrestling outfits that I've rented.
I've done that and got knocked on my keister.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing one right now as I talk with you. But it's just going to be a fun night. There's raffle prizes for the entire night, and then we go right into Saturday with our carnival. Gates open at 9 o'clock. and the carnival goes from like 9 to 4, 9 to 3, whatever. The weather's going to be great because we got a dunk tank, a water maze out there for the kids.
Wow.
The water maze is amazing. Path Church decided to bring over their water maze. We got pony rides, petting zoo, carnival booths all over, face painting. But anyway, on the inside of the ballpark, as that's going on the outside, we have Guns N' Hoses 3, which is our softball tournament between the 4 departments. And then we have over 18 other agencies going to be joining us.
Wow.
Matt and Michelle from Purely His, Redemption Ridge is going to be out there, Tree of Life, Hope Village, Rogue Retreat, Medford Gospel Mission, and the list goes on. And
well,
so, yeah, getting the information out.
You talk about an opportunity to check out resources in Southern Oregon. This is a huge one.
Exactly.
And I would really encourage you, go out and see the Guns N' Hoses 3. It's a hoot.
Yeah, and there, you know, it's just a fun, it's a fun-filled day to let people know. And what's really cool is, and the reason I say positive face on recovery, because those who are in addiction, we fight that stigma. Mm-hmm. We fight that stigma and that label of being one of those people. Mm-hmm. And I'm a firm believer that God restores. I really do. I do my message of hope more of a gentle way. You know, the Bible says that Christ stands at the door of our heart, Perry, and He knocks. To me, that's a gentleman. Mm-hmm. And so I want people to know that Foundation for Recovery wants to endorse and embrace other agencies of what they provide. It's just not about Foundation. Yeah. It's about coming together and having collaborative effort of meeting the needs of our community. Because we have a great problem in our community, and nationwide as well, with addiction.
That's our attitude here at theDove as well, is to bring all these resources together and serve the community. Mm-hmm. You know, Doug, you're another example of something I have said on theDove for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. Whatever God saves you from and brings you through, He turns you around, makes you a minister too.
I love that.
Give us your testimony in a few minutes here.
Yeah, I battled drugs. Started with marijuana when I was in 7th grade. Battled with alcohol in 8th grade. Started drinking into blackouts 9th and 10th grade. And then my junior year of high school, I went to a youth group. Went to a church, the old Open Bible Church that was on Table Rock Road, and gave my heart to the Lord 3 times that day because I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. But and then I worked in ministry and continued to work in children and youth ministry for over 30 years, and then in '97 I unfortunately succumbed to a divorce, and I picked up the drink. I gave up 21 years of sobriety, and then I hid that drink from my family and friends and from my church for 14 years. Wow. Until I ended up in the hospital, Rogue Valley Memorial Hospital, with a blood pressure of 280 over 220. I was at cardiac arrest, triage 1. I was hit with the paddles a couple times. And I remember laying there, Perry, and I always get emotional when I talk about this. Yeah. Looking up at the lights at the ER, saying, Lord, don't take my light away, give me one more chance. And from that moment, I've never had to take another drug or a drink. But
God used it. But you lost everything. You lost your position. Yeah. You went through the whole 9 yards, and then brought you back around to work what you're doing.
Absolutely. And God restores. I mean, you know, just a couple weeks ago, I was able to stand behind a pulpit and share a message, and it just it's neat to see. It's neat to see how God restores.
The culture is plagued with all kinds of pressures and issues. Sure. You know, yesterday when I got home, I was so exhausted from stuff. Sure. And we're in ministry.
Sure.
I was so exhausted. I ate a half a dinner and went to bed. Mm-hmm. You know the drill.
Sure.
You've been there, and you get up at 4 and all that.
Sure, absolutely.
But I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have God to turn to. I probably would be drawn to some kind of thing like you're trying to help people with. How big is the problem?
It's big, but here's the thing. Bill Wilson, who wrote Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, said this: imagine recovery without faith. Yeah. There's a harmonious brotherhood, all right? When one individual can help another. What we have in our community, in our society, is an overwhelmed epidemic. Yeah. This is why Foundation for Recovery, we do the Learn to Hope luncheons and dinners to get out the education. Now, 2 years ago, I did a message on kratom, and nobody believed me that this was going to be an issue. Just over the last week, the federal government decided to make kratom as a Schedule I narcotic because it's an opiate. Right. And so, the more education we can get out there to the community, you know, my development director Russ has a great story about the person walking on the beach and seeing the starfish. and he's throwing one starfish at a time back in the ocean. And the gentleman says, what difference does that make? I mean, look at the massive problem that you have here. He goes, well, it matters to that one. And that's what that's how we have to look at it. Can I reach everyone who's caught in an addiction? I hope so. I wish I could. But for that one individual that says, I want to come through the door and get help, I'm going to help that. I'm going to do whatever I can to help that individual. So
there's another part of this that is significant in the few seconds we have left here.
Sure.
And that is parents of addicts. Tell us about that program real quick.
Yeah, it's on Monday nights. Our next 8-week program starts October 3rd at the office there at Foundations for Recovery. You go through an 8-week program, and the cool thing is once you get through the 8-week program, and we talk about enabling how to communicate with an addict, the stages of change, how to set healthy boundaries. Once you go through that 8-week program, then you're invited back to join the original parent group from 6 to 7. And so it's been wonderful for the folks, and it's cool to see how education has helped them deal with their loved one caught in addiction.
And I think that's the big key. You may be living with somebody that's an addict, and you don't know what to do. You yourself have become trapped, and inevitably you become an enabler too.
Absolutely, and that's why Scott and Michelle Ashpole has started the group PAL. Parents of addicted loved ones, and they meet on Tuesday night. So we're trying to surround the community in reference to not only focus on the individual caught in the grip of addiction, but it's the collateral damage. 85% of the homes nationwide are directly affected by addiction, and heroin is the number one issue right now that we're seeing.
What have we done to ourselves by legalizing marijuana?
Unfortunately, we have created further addictions. What we're going to see. What was the numbers coming out of Colorado?
Oh, it's horrible.
For every revenue that we're taking in, we're spending $10 on addiction recovery.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to see it here in Oregon.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I talk about at our workshops.
Well, listen, the next, coming up Friday and Saturday, 2 very important days. Friday evening, starting at 6 o'clock out at the Harry and David baseball field. Go on out there. You're going to have the Battle of the Badges.
Battle of the Badges Friday night, and then Guns and Hoses on Saturday.
And, of course, the home run derby. That just ought to be a hoot. Plus, you get a hot dog out of it.
Plus, we're raffling off a motorcycle.
I see that.
Isn't that cool? So when you come through the gate, what's $10? And it goes all the funding, and it was a wonderful donation by Carol Law from the Cube, who donated that. So we're raffling off a motorcycle, and you have to be present to win, though. And we're gonna pick the lucky winner, the 6th inning of the championship game that Saturday night.
6th inning of the championship game for a $10 raffle ticket for a motorcycle.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Thanks, Perry. Thanks to the Dove. And thank you for everybody.
Well,
all the viewers.
I just can't say enough. The percentage of success through Foundation for Recovery proves that they know what they're doing. They're here to help. They do it by faith. There's no charge. And then if you feel led, support them because of what they are doing. But there's so many programs to support you and your family and your loved ones and the one who's involved in an addiction. So Friday, out at the Harry and David Field, starts at 6 o'clock, the Home Run Derby, the Battle of the Badges, and then Saturday at 9 o'clock, the all-day carnival fair thing is going to be a lot of fun. Going out there, a bunch of resources. Doug, you're a delight, my friend.
Thanks, Mikey.
And we'll see you on the other side of the game. Right?
Thanks again for everything.
All right. By the way, your phone number real quick. People listening to us, how do they get a hold of you?
541-245-HOPE, 541-245-4673.
245-HOPE. Remember that, because somebody's listening right now. You're going to dial that 245-HOPE.
That's right.
We'll see you next time on Focus Today.
Thanks, Barry.